Card 15. For this very hard problem, you need to know the definition of perpendicular, so what that means when you have two lines that are perpendicular, and you need to know how to solve for the slope of a line. Now, this is a tricky problem, and you may not have done this in class, which does make it tricky, but we're dealing with lines, points, and slope. Okay, so you don't need to know how to write the equation of a line. You do need to know how to work with slope, and you need to know what the deal is with a perpendicular line. So say you have this graph, you have this line. A perpendicular line, you should know, goes completely to a 90-degree angle to the original line. So to remind you, so you have this line, a parallel line will go like this, where they never intersect and they just go directly next to each other, like lanes on a road. A perpendicular line goes the exact opposite, like when you're at an intersection. Okay? So the other thing you need to know is that the slope, if this line's slope is m, then the perpendicular line slope is -1 over m. Okay, so that's just a rule. When you have one line slope, then the perpendicular line slope will be the reciprocal, and then also the negative of that reciprocal. Okay, so we have 2 points on a line, 4, 1, -2h. We know that they're perpendicular to the line y equals 2x plus 4, and we're looking for what this point must be. So if we have the line y equals 2x plus 4, and like I said, this is m. All right, the original line slope is m. The perpendicular line has a slope of what? If you want to figure it out now, you should pause the video. But what we're going to do is take the reciprocal and then make it negative. So this new line's slope is -1 over 2. All right, so we just take the reciprocal, meaning put it under 1, so 1 over 2, and then make it negative, -1 over 2. That is our slope. The final thing you need to know, and I know there's a lot in this video that you need to know, but the final thing you need to know is the equation for slope. And slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this looks a little confusing, but it just means that you should pick one point that is 1. Let's say this one's 1 and this one's 2. And these little 1s and 2s just mean which point they're coming from, just so that you stay consistent, basically. So for example, if this is our point 1, then this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. And that's really how it works, and all you have to do now is plug in. So y2, look up here, this one's y2, so it's h, minus y1, 1. x2, -2, minus x1, which is 4. All right, now let's reduce this a little bit. So we have h minus 1, which we can't reduce, over -2 minus 4, which remember, if you're at -2 and you're going backwards 4, then you get to -6. Now, this is what we know is the slope of these 2 points. We also know their slope is -1/2. So now we can set this equal to -1/2 and then solve for h. So when you have two fractions that equal each other, I always just like to cross multiply to get rid of the fractions because they can be hard to work with. So 2 times h minus 1, let's put that in parentheses so we don't forget to distribute. And -6 times -1 is what? 6, right? Negative times negative is positive. Now we can distribute or divide. Let's distribute it first. So when you have a number before a parentheses, you have to distribute. So we get 2 times h is 2h minus 2. We can add the 2. And then let me move it up here. We want to get h alone, so let's divide by 2. And we get h equals 4. And that is our answer. Okay, I know that's a lot of tricky math if you have not dealt with drawing lines and creating slopes and all of that before. So definitely ask your math teacher to explain the basics of lines, points, and slopes if you have not seen any of this before.